The days of social media being its own silo and Google being its own silo are over. Now these Facebook group posts start showing up on Google search. It's a waste. All right, welcome everybody. We're going to give everyone a few minutes to join us today. I am super excited to be talking about this because there has been a ton of changes that not everyone's really aware of when it comes to social media. And I want to make sure that we get this information out just in time for summer, and along with some workflows and some other things that you guys can help to automate some of this work for you. So super excited. When you guys jump into this, or when you guys get on the live stream, if you could just put your trade that you serve, or if you serve multiple, put each trade in there in the comments section. I love seeing the comments, so I can try to take the content for today and try to make it fit what most people have for businesses, because sometimes we get some unique industries that are outside of the HVAC, plumbing, electrical realm. And also put the city that you're from or the market that you serve in the chat, and we'll be monitoring those as we get started here today. Oh, Bradley, you're from my stomping grounds, man. I don't know if you've ever ran across either Iron Fireman, Miserelli Sorensen, or Professional Services. Little different areas. They're a little more on the suburbs. Two of them were out on further west of Milwaukee, but Port Washington was the last HVAC company that I worked for. So good to meet you, I guess, or good to at least see your name pop up on the screen. We got Becca from the DFW area in HVAC. Hey, Justin, HVAC and electric in Raleigh. Adam, plumbing and HVAC in Charleston. We got some southern folks today. HVAC, plumbing and well in Marion, Indiana. Fun little story for you. And I apologize, I don't know how to say your name, and I don't want to butcher it where it's recorded. But I have a little location changer app on my computer, and for some reason it was set to Marion, Indiana. So I was doing like these near me searches, and I kept pulling up Marion, Indiana companies. I have since fixed it, but that was kind of a little bit of a running joke here. Hey, Byron, good to see you again, or good to have you on the call. Lisa, HVAC, Gabrielle, HVAC, plumbing, electrical in Grimes, Iowa. Good old Midwest. You guys are being pounded with rain this spring. Lisa from NorCal. Hey, Jason, good to see you on here. Hey, Heather, HVAC and electrical in Charleston. Okay. Hopefully Adam and Heather don't battle it out since you're both from Charleston today. But all right, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started because we have a lot to cover. And I want to be cognizant of your time on this either Thursday afternoon if you're in the East or Central time zones, or if you're out here on the West Coast like me. It's still actually morning time. It doesn't feel like morning, but it is. All right, so today we are talking about essentially the goal of what we're focused on is what sorts of things should we be posting? How should we be engaging? How much time should we be spending on social media? And then, of course, just like anything that is coming out this day and age, how do we use either AI or automation to help us with those so we can speed up the efficiency and focus more on the human element, which would be the engagement part? And we're going to go over all that. I'm going to be sharing a ton of examples from my time in the trades, and from some of these examples might be even from when my time here with Relentless Digital and how I engage, because we were just going through, we had our sales and marketing L10 meeting, and I was showing my team on the call just what happens when I engage in local, or not local groups, but these Facebook groups. And we saw the leads come in from that engagement. And that's the same thing I want for you guys, but there's a very specific way to kind of go about that and a strategy. So let me get my screen situated here so I can focus on the presentation. Awesome. Real quick, house cleaning items or housekeeping items for you guys. When you have questions, don't hold them in and wait for later. Throw them in the comments section, just like you guys put where you're from. Throw them in at any point in time. Even if you have a question now that maybe you want answered throughout the presentation, I will stay on as long as it takes to get all of your questions answered. And if I don't know the answer, we'll either find you an answer or I will point you in the right direction. That being said, let's get started. So and obviously I can't see you guys, so it's a little harder to ask this question, but this is typically what I find when I talk to contractors. They're either they post and they get 0 views or 0 likes or nothing, no engagement. They don't know what to say or what to post. And honestly, the worst of all is when I go audit social media pages, it's super inconsistent. There'll be like, hey, it's happy 1-year work anniversary for an employee. And then 3 weeks later is the next post. And then 4 weeks later is the next one. And there's just no consistency. And you can tell there's no strategy of consistency or automation in place to help keep that profile active and put really good information online that homeowners actually will want to read. So don't worry, you're not alone. I couldn't tell you how many profiles I review that have nothing. Like sometimes I go on a profile and some of these companies are fairly big. If you looked at their Google presence versus their social media presence, you can tell they spend a lot of time and effort on Google with reviews and everything else, but then you go to social media and it is literally like a ghost town. And I'm going to show you exactly why that can no longer happen, because the days of social media being its own silo and Google being its own silo are over. There is a lot of overlap, and I'm going to share exactly why and what that looks like. And I'm actually going to have you guys do some searches to see if you guys find the same things that I find when I do searches. And the frustrating part about not having a strategy is we get no calls and we don't hear anything. There's just crickets online. And we're like, I don't know how these companies do it. I don't know how they are structured. I don't know how they stay in front of their audience. I don't know how they figure out, because you see a post from maybe a competitor or maybe someone that you're friends with and like, wow, that post is really great. How did they think of that? And we want to make that as easy as possible for you guys, because I think sometimes social media gets overcomplicated. We see someone that has a personality that puts out, and I'll use Derek Cormier with, oh goodness, climate experts in Florida. If not, you should go follow his page. If follow any of their social media content, he does a great job. Not everyone has the personality or their team's personality to pull content like that off. So we're going to talk more about practical things that anyone can implement as we get through this today. And that's what we're focused on changing. Because what I want you guys to have, and these were examples that I had pulled from my phone when I was in the trades. We had a Facebook group called Port Washington Voice. I think there's 30,000 members in it now. We dominated these local Facebook groups, as I'm showing you guys on the screen. And so the exact tactics that worked for me then work now. And there's a very specific way to go about this, so that way you guys can have the same thing happen, because this is a fantastic opportunity for you guys to get mentioned in other places, because not everyone goes to Google. If any of you guys follow me on social media, I've been sharing some local ones. We had some record heat here in March in Arizona, where we had, I don't know, like the 7 or 8 hottest days ever in the month of March. And immediately, as soon as that heat pops up, the Facebook groups are blowing up. You need someone for an air conditioner, and search for someone to fix my air conditioner. It's really hot in here, and I got a baby and a dog and an elderly parent, and I need help today. Those things happen all the time in these groups. And what's changed is now these Facebook group posts start showing up on Google search. So there's a lot of crossover here. And on top of that, AI search models are searching the entire web for mentions of your business and threads and things like that. So we're going to get into that here in just a little bit. So this is what you're going to discover today: why Facebook groups, Reddit, and LinkedIn now dominate local search, how to use AI to write posts without losing the real factor, a story framework for every post, problem diagnostic solution tip. There will be an automated framework that you guys can swipe and deploy from this if you stay on long enough. How to record once and publish 10 times with FAQ videos, comment strategies that convert to DMs, and I'm going to give you guys a bonus tool to help you monitor engagement, so you don't have to have this lovely little device that we always have next to us around 24/7. So real quick, founder and CEO of Relentless Digital. We started our digital marketing company about a little over 6 years ago. I also co-host the Service Business Mastery podcast. We have to update this. We actually just crossed 4 million downloads. We put out a lot of information about AI and automation on that podcast. So if you're interested in that sort of content, definitely check us out. We've won some awards, and we work with a lot of HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and roofing clients. So, and before this, I was in the trades for HVAC specifically for 9 years. As I mentioned, my wife was in the trades for 6 years doing sales. So we have a lot of experience on what it takes to grow local, small HVAC businesses. All right. So one of the keys, and I think this is one of the biggest things I'm missing, because a lot of times, even when I see other agencies post on behalf of contractors, the content is really bland. It's always got that like branded border background, and it's like Happy Easter from the ABC heating family. And those posts they're just terrible. And I see that that's the stuff that keeps the feeds active. And that stuff doesn't speak to anyone. It doesn't tell them about your business. It doesn't move them closer to a potential purchase or a referral with your business. It's essentially sitting in a rocking chair. You're not actually going anywhere. You're just sitting there and biding your time. And that's really what we're going to try to fix today. So I want to start with the story framework, because this, as we've been testing this, has worked exceptionally well. And the beauty with today's, and actually you could probably have automated this 3.5 years ago, but with AI and the Claude Code and some of these other tools that are out there, this can be completely automated. And there's typically every single job inside of your field service management software really has 3 parts to it. We have the reason why somebody called. We have what the technician found once they got on site. And then we have the solution or the invoice. What was the outcome of that problem and that diagnostic? And then the last piece of this is taking that story or taking that framework and creating a call to action or a tip or something beneficial for the person that's spending time reading that story. One of the biggest misses that I see online is not enough people share stories. There's a reason stories, videos, things like that follow a path forward always get a lot more likes and a lot more traction, is because people like reading stories. They like seeing what they see themselves in stories. So an example of this might be, let's say someone called because their AC was blowing warm air, very common call in the summer. And technician goes out, diagnoses the system, sees that there's a couple options for repair. I mean, the most common one is obviously a capacitor. Maybe they offer a capacitor and contactor. Maybe they do a full system refresh. And then what the client or customer actually purchased, that of itself can be a very valuable story and lessons learned for other homeowners who maybe have a unit that's starting to go and they don't know, things that they can check, things they should pay attention to that can really benefit them from having to spend $1,000 on a repair. And what that does is it builds a lot of goodwill. Just like what I'm doing today, I'm going to be giving you guys very shortly here screenshots, exact things to do and say. I'm trying to give this information away for free. Giving information like this away is one of the most valuable things you can do in your business. Now, I know some people will, as you hear that, they'll be like, well, then they'll just go fix it themselves. And I can tell you from experience of doing dozens of these webinars, breakout sessions, keynotes, creating hundreds of YouTube videos and Facebook videos and making posts every single day about things that people can do, there is a very, very, very small percentage of people that will actually do the thing that is shared. What they want to know is, does that person know enough for me to hire them? So if you have fears of people doing DIY work, I would try to rewire how you think about that and only focus on the people who need to know this information, that need to find a trusted provider. Because I promise you, maybe 1 to 2% of people. So if we have, let's see, there's 44 people live on this call right now. My guess is maybe one of you, maybe two of you will actually implement anything you learned here today. Now, I hope that's more. I really, truly do. But if not, that's pretty normal. And that's why I give away things like this on webinars. And that's why the content you put out should give away what's happening behind the scenes, because most people, especially homeowners, especially the millennial age group, which is the predominant homeowner group in the country, they're not going to go to Home Depot or Harbor Freight or one of these places, get all these tools, try to figure it out, potentially electrocute themselves or cause a bigger problem. They're not going to do it. It's too much for them to do, but they want to know that you know how to do it, and they feel like they know, like, and trust you before hiring you. All right. So I have a little test for you guys, and hopefully if you're on your phone, you might not be able to do this because you're going to be watching the webinar, but if you're at a computer and you can open up a new tab, I would love to see you guys put in some sort of query into Google just like this. Best AC repair in city, best plumber in city, top roofer in city, whatever that looks like for your business. So when I do this, I'm in the Queen Creek, Arizona area. I noticed this, I can't remember exactly when, it's within the last 6 months when I was doing some queries and just some testing, I started noticing these forums that show up just like this. And what these are, there was a point in time somewhere in 2025 where there was no real big announcement, but Google all of a sudden started indexing Instagram, Facebook, TikTok videos. They started having all of those things indexed by search. It did not used to be that way. I have a pretty strong feeling that the European Union, they're very strict on what these tech companies can do. They're a lot more strict than we are here in the States. They had some litigation that came through last year that I think changed this for us here in this country, which is great news, because now that means the marketing that we're doing in all these different channels can really all play a closer piece together. So what you're seeing here is these discussion forums being pulled in. And what's great about this is also gives you an inkling of, you can click see more. You can find all of the groups that these conversations are happening in. And what you're seeing right here is this TK Heating and Air is getting a lot of love in these groups. And that stuff is going to help them with AI search. It's going to help them show up on Google, which is still by far the most dominant search engine in the world. And then you're also noticing that Reddit threads get pulled in. I would love to, tell me in the chat, put a 1 in the chat if you log in. Put a 1 in the chat if you have a Reddit account. Let's start there. I'd love to see how many people have Reddit. If you do not have a Reddit account, put a 2 in the chat. I'd love to see how many people actually have Reddit accounts first before I go into this, because Reddit's kind of like its own animal, but I can explain more. Oh, good. We got okay. Oh, we got a decent number. Looks like maybe 50-50 or so. Okay. So the reason, and some of you guys that use Reddit may know this, and maybe that's why you're using Reddit now, or maybe you just like it because it's kind of like an unfiltered truth. But along the way, as these AI search, as Google's gone more into their AI mode and using Gemini, and ChatGPT's come about to search the internet, they needed a source where they felt like human connection was real. Now, I don't necessarily feel like the way people interact on Facebook groups or Reddit threads are how people would act in person, because you all know that there's keyboard warriors in your market. You probably know who those people are. But what happened is these large language models paid Reddit really large sums of money. I think Google spent like 60 million. I don't know exactly what OpenAI or ChatGPT spent, but they spent a lot of money to get access to the data and the threads and the queries that come in here. Because they paid for that access on the back end, now Reddit is one of the most, I think it's actually the most cited source for all AI searches, or searches that have AI mode on. And it's somewhere like 40 or 45% it gets cited. And the same thing, Facebook groups to a lesser extent, but Facebook groups are obviously where most homeowners, people of homeowner age do have an account, and they hang out in those groups, especially those neighborhood and community groups. But that's why these things are so valuable. So what I'm showing you on the screen here, if you did that search on your desktop or on your phone, that is a fantastic starting place for you to go ahead and make sure you're added into those groups. Be part of the conversation. I will show you a tool later that you can help yourself so you don't have to be sitting on these groups all the time. But for me, I always knew Facebook was a place that I could grow my businesses. And that's why you saw what you did on a couple screens prior with how well we did on Facebook groups. We still do well on Facebook groups and get a lot of leads for Relentless Digital that way too, is by engagement, not just putting your company name. You notice that these comments that are being pulled in here, these aren't just the tags or the mentions where you throw your company name and you tag your company name in the post. Those don't work. That's not what's going to get pulled in here. What they're trying to see on search is, what are they saying about the companies that they're tagging? If you just have yourself and your team put your company name, it's not going to work very well. And this is also where you guys can find a lot of frequently asked questions that homeowners have to create content. We'll go more into that in a little bit, but this is where you can really start to understand, what are your customers thinking when they have a problem, and how can I reverse engineer the solve to make sure I'm taking care of their problems and talking about their problems before. So that way, before they get here, they've already seen your content about it and they contact you instead of going to these groups. So when it comes to your Facebook business page, we're going to talk kind of the cold realities of the Facebook business page versus personal page versus some of these other things. A business page, let's say you got 1,000 followers or people following your business page, just for round numbers, typically you're going to get like a 1 to 2% organic reach on those pages. And I've noticed this. I will literally take the same thing our team posted on our business page. I will put it on my personal profile. My personal profile crushes whatever's on the business page. Now, when I say that, some people will take action and they will start making their personal page more of their own personal brand and focus on growing their business that way. I would highly recommend that. I know that there are people that want to keep Facebook and business separate. So, and typically when people ask me that, I would say create 2 profiles for yourself, because no matter what, your personal profile for your business is always going to perform better. That doesn't mean you should neglect your business page. It just means that you're going to have to post on both, because it does work. It works really, really, really well, because people want to know who is this business? And the business typically is whoever's owning or operating the business. Are they local? Do they have good values? Do they seem like family people? Do they seem like someone we would like? Do they seem like someone we could trust in our house? They're not going to get that necessarily from a business page unless you're really good at showing that stuff on that page. Most of the time now, your ideal customers, maybe not so much LinkedIn if you're a residential service company, but they are hanging out on Reddit and Facebook groups. That's just where they are. And there was a stat somewhere, I don't think I have it labeled in here, but this is where people go to ask questions when they don't know something, because they still want that human interaction. Some people have stopped even going to that, and they go to AI search models, and having content that focuses around that topic can help you get cited. And I'll share some examples here in a little bit. Here's some stats for you guys for Reddit. You can kind of, some of these are a little older, but you can see Reddit visibility jumped a ton in 2024. I think that's when they made the announcement in the partnership. Google AI Overviews cite Reddit in 21%. Perplexity cites Reddit 46% of the time. And Reddit is a top 5 most cited domain across every major AI engine. It's not just Google. It's not just ChatGPT. It's all of them. So Reddit is often the #1 result, especially when people type in use the word best, because typically when someone goes to Facebook groups or they go to Reddit, they're going to type in the word best service in this area, whatever that looks like, because nobody wants just any provider. They don't want a ton of providers. They want the best one. Now I want to talk about LinkedIn real shortly here, because LinkedIn is a fantastic place that honestly a lot of clients that we come across don't even have LinkedIn business pages. LinkedIn is a phenomenal resource for a couple different reasons. One, as you can see on the right-hand side, LinkedIn also gets cited a lot in AI searches. So it's great for your business to be putting content on there. And then from the side, and this is what's helped us a ton, and this is why we spend time on LinkedIn, is hiring people. Most people in the professional world today have a LinkedIn account. They may not be the most active, but they do have an account. So if they start seeing a business pop up that's putting out content, seems like a great place to work, seems like they have fun, seems like they have a good culture, and you talk about your core values, you talk about what makes you different, it's possible that you can have people start coming to you instead of you having to go find them or go pay for ads on Indeed or go pay for ads on some other job board. And that's really the power of this, is you're branding your company and you're starting to do what's called attraction marketing. I can't tell you how many times, and I'm not so much in the hiring process of Relentless anymore because we have a team for that. But when I was part of the hiring process, I couldn't tell you how many times people would say, "Oh, I loved your content that you put out. I love the stuff you put out on LinkedIn. I love the videos you put out." People that want to work for your company know how to search for you. And the easiest way you can tell that they actually care about that opportunity in front of them is they mention things like, "Oh, I saw this," or "I saw that online," or "I researched your company." Those people are engaged. They're going to probably be good employees because they want something that's not necessarily just the dollar per hour that they make. They want to fit somewhere where they actually love working. On LinkedIn, just a little tip, post as the owner. I would, same thing as Facebook with business page and your personal page, post as both. But this is just a little stat for you guys. The individual creator content gets cited 59% of the time. Same thing on the business page on Facebook as it is on LinkedIn. We get not nearly as many views and impressions and everything like that as we do as my personal page. So as the owner of the company, if some of you guys, I know someone mentioned there was a marketing manager, and maybe you're not the owner, but getting your team or getting someone from your company to be that person. I happen to be that person at pretty much every company that I worked at on the HVAC side, because I didn't have owners that wanted to be the forward facing. And sometimes that's okay. If it's someone internally at the company, maybe it's a technician, marketing manager, office manager, whoever is comfortable putting content out to try to grow the business, something, a decision you guys have to make. But posting on those personal pages, I promise you, and building that personal brand is one of the best things you could ever do for yourself, your career, and your business. So here's a few ways to search for groups, threads, and how to search on LinkedIn. And I wanted to share this because the second HVAC company that I started at was a brand new branch. We were an hour away from the primary branch. We had no customers. We didn't have a customer list. I got $10,000 in our bank account in a van. And of course, if any of you guys know me or have heard this before, I know Brittany's in here. She'd be the first one to tell you, I'm not handy. I am not the guy that's going to run the service call or install the system. Now, I'm pretty good at being a grunt and a runner and lifting stuff and moving it to where I need to go and keep my team active. But one of the first things I did is I hired a technician, and then I joined literally every single Facebook group I could. I just searched the cities. So you guys all have a service area listed on your website. And if it's not on your website, you at least know what that is. Take every single city and go search these key terms right here. City A, neighbors. City B, neighbors. Same thing, homeowners, community, buy, sell, trade. Join all of these groups with your personal profile, not your business profile, just to be clear. Same thing with Reddit. Reddit has subreddits. That's what they call their threads, if you're not familiar, and you put 2 in the chat earlier. And so you just search. You could either do what I did earlier, like I did best AC repair in Queen Creek. Hey, there's a Reddit thread there. Join that one. And then you can do the same thing for other cities. Or you can do something like this. Join ones that have the cities that you serve, or homeowners in that area, or maybe you want to join one that are more specific to your trade. So maybe you can try to go find technicians in those groups or people that are looking for jobs. And then on LinkedIn, this really depends on your goals. I would highly recommend using LinkedIn as a modern BNI/networking channel. You can reach out to a certain number of people every single day, and you can find them by what they do. So let's say you're in a plumbing company and you want to partner up with HVAC companies, electricians, roofers, landscapers, pool companies, siding, gutters, windows, you name it. Literally find every single home service industry and try to find people that serve the same customers you do that do a different trade, because then you can expand your marketing. You guys can create your own referral network where you guys are sharing stuff back and forth. You can create a group channel or whatever and just share leads, because y'all have the same leads. Y'all trying to get in the same homes and do the same different services, but the same customer. And this is a great way also to find, realtors, or sometimes those maybe aren't the best, but find other local networking community events. Maybe there's some, like I joined one. I haven't actually gone because our company's nationwide, but there's a local group of tradespeople, people that own trades companies, that meets like once a month in Mesa. And I get the text message because I'm on the list now every month. One of these months I probably will go there. I just don't know much about the group and I didn't want to show up kind of unannounced, but you can find networking opportunities like that, because one of the biggest takeaways I got, I was at Jen McKee's, I can't remember the name of her event, but Jen McKee's event last month in San Antonio. And there were 3 people on stage. They were doing a panel about what helped them grow their business in unique ways. And 2 of the 3, Chuck Worley, I can't remember the younger gentleman's name. He was like 29. He built a $20 million company, which was really impressive. But what they talked about wasn't the fanciest digital thing that they did. It was networking, meeting people in their neighborhood, meeting other business owners, going to their restaurants, supporting them, making their own referral network. So it's one of the most underutilized things in the trades, because nobody wants to get on LinkedIn and have another profile and place to go. But spending 5 minutes a day on something like that and just reaching out to a few people can really yield results. You get one good partnership back and forth, and it's going to change your business and how many leads you guys get. Just a couple rules. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. This is more for Facebook groups. Don't go in there guns a-blazing as soon as you join the group and start posting a ton, because it's one easy way to get banned. Something that I will share some examples here in the next several slides so you guys have them, but most people, and you guys probably are all aware of this from marketing agencies, you post in a group, hey, looking in search of a new agency, and what happens? You get DM'd to death. And even though you didn't ask anyone to DM you, you get DM'd to death. Don't be that person. Nobody likes the person that cold DMs them and they didn't ask. So what I've always done in the trades is I solve the problem, or I ask a question to the original poster in the group, in the comments, because it does 2 things for me. One, it's going to help me engage that person in conversation, because you guys are familiar with these Facebook group posts. Hey, I'm in search of an air conditioning person. My AC went out. I got a young kid. I need help today. Everybody just posts. They just comment company A, company B, company C, all the way down the list. And it's just like, you're more confused as the poster than ever. But when you ask a question, or you give them some advice, or you give them something of value, and you start solving that problem, you get looked at differently. And I almost always get a reply from the original poster, because I'm trying to further the conversation, which then of course brings other people into the conversation, and they get to see my answer publicly. And what that does is a couple things. It allows us to be the expert and to show that you're the expert without claiming, hey, yep, I know what I'm talking about. I'm the man, or I'm the woman, I'm the expert. You get to prove that by your level of knowledge and expertise in the comments, and everybody sees that. And then if you get a response, then when people start liking your responses or hearting your responses, turn that into a piece of content, or a little bit of a story on your own personal pages. I do that all the time. I look for ones where I get 5, 6, 7 likes on my comment. Cool. That I can tell that one did well. I'm going to take that and I'm going to go put that on my personal page as its own post now. So now you just created another piece of content that people are actually interacting with and liking. If they want to hire you, they'll usually DM you, or they'll ask you to DM them. Be a human, not a brand. And that's why you answer from your personal profile, not your company profile. And then Reddit will ban people that pitch fast. Facebook will, if you're really obvious about it as well. All right. Sorry, throat's getting dry. Let's talk about examples and how to go about this. Let's talk more tactics now, so you guys can take something away and start implementing. So These are all posts that I made. You can see the dates. They're back when I was still in the trades. And these posts always did really, really well for me, especially when there's weather events. But what I did is, so I made a post on our professional services business page, as you can see down here at the bottom. And I put a whole bunch of information there. And then what I did is share the business page post to the group with my personal account. Okay. Hopefully everyone's following them. I shared my business page post to the Facebook group I wanted to put it in from my personal profile, because these Facebook groups usually are pretty strict on promotions and things like that, but they're fine if you do it from your personal profile and I don't sell anything. So all I did here, just be prepared this weekend. It's going to be really cold with these heating tips. If they want the heating tips, they'll go down and they'll click on this. I'm just trying to be a helpful neighbor, helpful person in the community at this point. I'm not trying to sell anything. Same thing with this. This one obviously happens. This is more in the north when there's snow. Same thing. This was actually only a couple weeks before. Just a couple tips to keep your house warm overnight, as we are starting to accumulate quite a bit of snow in your furnace exhaust pipes. And then the business page post had all of the information about, clearing the snow, why it's important, how to know if this affects you, if you have a 90% versus an 80% furnace, etc. Things like this are so easy to do. You can repost these and reuse these every single time the same weather event happens. So if you're in a market like in Arizona and it gets hot and you get these 110-degree days or some abnormal records where everyone's talking about it, you can post the same thing. And then, or just take a variation and then put it in these groups from your personal profile. But just like I said, be a human, try to be helpful, just act like you're talking to a family member. You just want to be helpful. You want to give some tips so that way they're safe and their home functions well. Here's an example of just commenting in the Facebook groups. It was hard to go back because I didn't have these screenshots before. I had to go back 6 years worth of screenshots and try to find some different comments and stuff that I had made over the years to try to give you guys examples that were relevant to you versus relevant to what I do now. But things like this, just trying to be helpful. This one, not necessarily continue the conversation, but I didn't just put our business name. I said, I'm happy to set you up with a furnace inspection. We have a $20 off coupon on our website currently. I'm just trying to be helpful and doing it again from personal profile. And this person ended up booking with us. Here's another one. If you want to laugh, I have no idea what this first comment is. This one wanted to get their boiler checked in search of a recommendation for a heating company that services residential boiler systems. I already knew that this person booked, but what I wanted to do is let everyone else know that we booked that appointment too, because there were other businesses in there. We'll take good care of you this week. Thanks for the opportunity to serve you. Again, just engaging and doing something different. I wasn't just going to throw our business name on there. This was a comment. I couldn't find the actual group post, but this is someone was asking about different estimates. And so I was trying to educate the group on proper installation, why some companies are cheaper, that they'll pay for it later because these companies are just swapping boxes and they're not actually doing a full load calc and everything else. And these systems should last longer than what they're lasting, et cetera. Just trying to be helpful in the group. This is the type of content that people will resonate with. Another share from our business page. This was actually during COVID. We did a local economic stimulus. We bought a bunch of like $1,500 in local gift cards from restaurants, shops, essentially any local business that was down there. If they had gift cards, we bought a $1,500 worth and we started raffling them off. And just, shared some pictures of people with happy yard signs, which as you guys are watching through this, yard signs, great piece of content for social media. We did a ton of this. So just hopefully you guys picking up on some of this stuff, because all of these little things, even if you implement one or two of these little changes, these will definitely help you as you move forward with your business. Something that I don't see a lot of customers or a lot of contractors do is have their customers share a story. Now, obviously the customer has to be willing to do this, but ask your customer to share their experience. There's nothing better than getting someone to sing your praises that's not you. And so this person ended up this was our duct cleaning service. They came out, spent 8 hours deep cleaning our ducts, installed a UV. I mean, they're literally promoting all this stuff for us, because then other people are like, oh, I want that too, because somebody else said this was great. And that's really how this word of mouth picks up. And that's how you end up owning and dominating these groups. So the goal of this is to be less generic. Focus on helpful things. If you have a personality to do the fun, comedic type content, do it. But most people, in my opinion, they're not that comfortable being on camera. I don't even do that type of content a lot. My team has been pushing me to do more and Brittany to do more, but it's just not something I'm like super comfortable with. So I like to focus on the education and the value type stuff. But the type of content you post will definitely matter. So those generic posts where you're just sharing, happy peanut butter and jelly day, like that stuff is not doing anything valuable for your business. It's a waste. So again, here's the framework. Now I have some examples in this framework that you guys can take away. And then in, I think, 2 slides, we're going to have an actual automation that you guys can take a screenshot of, swipe and deploy, and I could talk through that a little bit. So the problem got called, this would be like your CSR notes, got called to a home in whatever the neighborhood is, because you guys have the city in your CRM. Last Tuesday, AC was running nonstop, house is still 82. This is something that a homeowner would tell you. This is what your technician would find. This would be in their notes. Found the evaporator coil iced over in our 115-degree summers with older Mesa area homes. This usually means a clogged filter or low refrigerant. So what we did is we thawed the coil, replaced the filter, topped off the refrigerant, cleaned the drain line. If your AC is running but not cooling in this heat, check your filter first. If it's still not cooling, it's probably your coil. DM us and we'll walk. This is essentially a story framework for you to follow. If you wanted to do it yourself, ChatGPT and Claude, if you put this information in, could easily write these posts for you. If you follow this framework and tell it to follow this framework, there's an even better way to do this through automation. Again, just kind of telling you what you need out of your CRM. So if your team's not using their CRM properly, this will be a problem. And that would be your first step to fix, is to go back, make sure you put your notes in here on every call, make sure you're taking pictures, because then that information can be turned into extremely valuable content pieces. This is what that workflow looks like. So a new completed job comes in. This just happens to be House Call Pro. You can do this with Service Titan, Jobber, Sarah. There's probably some others that I'm not thinking of right now. We have to search for customers' information. This is something that you probably need to talk to us about. We can help you. And then we filter. So the reason I want to filter is I don't want to create stories for jobs that are $0 tickets. I want to create stories from jobs where customers actually paid us for service. So we usually set this threshold to $500. You can set it to whatever you want. But that means this automation only runs when a homeowner spent over a certain dollar amount with us. So we get really good stories of people we actually helped and served versus just, call back because of XYZ, or if it's an estimate type job. And then we put a prompt into, I use Claude a lot more than ChatGPT, but put a prompt into Claude so we get a very specific output. And it just depends on the channel that I'm trying to get this for. We don't have a lot of time to talk about this today, but you can do this for social media posts. You can do this for emails. You can do this for follow-up sequences. You can do this for a lot of different things. This one just happened to be social media posts. And then we typically put this on a spreadsheet row, so that way our team can go through and take a look at these and find the best one. So that way we're not posting every single story, because some stories may not be that great. So we want to find the best stories and only use those. And this is what that looks like. I'll give you guys a minute to read through this, but it's a great story. It has a customer that we helped called us up because his water heater finally gave up, and talks about Albuquerque in April is not a fun surprise when you're jumping in the shower before work. We swapped it with a new 40-gallon Bradford White. Here's the thing a lot of homeowners don't know, so we're trying to educate them. Most water heaters fail between X, Y, and Z, etc. And if you're 10 years older, it's worth taking a peek at, look for rust around. And then we're literally telling them like what to look for. So if they go out and look, they see this and they go, look, mine's got rust around it too. Maybe I should call someone. Well, they're going to call you because you're the one that educated them on the potential of that. And then what happens if you catch it before? And then of course we have a warranty and stuff like that. So that's the value of putting a workflow like this together, is you get content like this where you don't have to write it. You don't have to be a copywriter. You don't have to know what works on social media. You just have to come up with a prompt and an automation and come up with the content yourself. So that way you can spend Couple minutes creating this, move on about your day. Other pieces of content that work really well, before and afters. This will always work. There's a lot of cool ways to do this with video now, where you do like the 5 to 10 seconds before and then the 5 to 10 seconds after. But this was we actually took a duct cleaning photo and turned it into more of like a cartoonish image, but before and afters work very well, and explain why and what happened in between that. That's a great story as well. Here's a couple examples. This is me. I still had a little bit of hair. I had a little bit more brown in the beard. This was a few years ago. This was at Professional Services. I was doing these when we still lived in Wisconsin. I was making these videos in my basement. I don't even know if Brittany knew I was doing this, but I was making selfie videos in the basement, because what we did is, I'll give you an example of 2 videos, because this one's 4 tips before calling to have your furnace serviced. And I was trying to localize it because the county we were in. But what we also did is, after we made these videos, we put them on YouTube. And I also did a 4 tips before calling to get your AC inspected, because as soon as they book a job with us, I had this video embedded in that booking link. Most CRMs now today have a booking link or some sort of booking message that goes out like, hey, your appointment's between 8 and 10. You can put a link in there and any other information that you want. This is you pre-selling and really trying to provide a ton of value for someone that just booked for you. Of course, this content can also go on social media and YouTube and everything else. But my goal of this was I didn't want to have my guys go out to jobs where they would just flip a furnace switch or flip a breaker or have to change a filter because it was completely clogged and they hadn't changed it in 5 years, which happened all the time in Wisconsin. So we would give this video. We'd actually have people call and be like, oh yeah, grandson was down in the basement. They just flipped the switch. I flipped it back on. Everything's working great. I really appreciate you guys saving me the $100 service call. And then our team didn't have to go out and try to take a $99 service call and turn it into something that was never going to happen because the homeowner didn't have a problem. So they felt good. We felt good. And that's how you end up getting other people to talk about your business. Like, wow, there's actually businesses out there that aren't just trying to take every dollar they can from me. They're actually really trying to help me and save money if possible. And that's the type of brand that people will comment, they will share, they will tell other people about offline or online. Sharing reviews is a phenomenal thing to do. We do this for some clients. I've been doing this for myself since like 2018. Because we get all these great reviews on Google. Everyone focuses on Google, getting these reviews, but then we don't do anything else with them. Well, people find us on Facebook. They find us on Instagram. They find us on LinkedIn. You can even do text posts on YouTube. You can post this stuff in all sorts of different channels, and you don't have to do anything besides just repost the review. And this is just like shouting into the world, we do 5-star work. We're amazing, without telling them that you're amazing. This is, they're obviously the homeowners review, but there's ways to do this where you can syndicate one piece of content many different times to get people to be like, man, you guys must be crushing it. You guys do 5-star work. I see 5 stars in your name all the time. Day in the life stuff's great. This is probably more of a video type thing, but what does the owner of an HVAC company's day look like? What does a marketing manager's day look like? What does an office manager's day look like? This can be something that we started doing this even with our team, different things that our team goes through on a regular basis and having their face on behind the camera. And that type of content is super engaging. Now, this is something that will probably take a little bit of a team. There are some apps that can probably do some of this for you, but the beautiful thing about recording video is that I'll show you some stats on the next screen that'll back up my claim here. But this video, for example, it's an hour and 10-minute webinar. My team will chop this up. It's going to go on YouTube. We're going to create a blog. We're going to chop up all kinds of short little segments, like all these questions and answers we do at the end. My team chops those up into shorts. So we record I spend 1 hour doing a webinar, and we have content for a month. And we do the same thing with videos. We do the same thing if we write a blog post, and you just take the time to record one good piece of content. Like, for example, my team shared a win yesterday it was something with an outbound campaign. We had a client that wanted to run an outbound campaign, and one of our client success strategists worked them. They didn't like the offer and talked them into and shared some examples of other offers that worked better. We changed the campaign. The client had a lot of success with it. So I decided to actually record the video first, about a 4-minute video on my phone, just talking about the 3 biggest mistakes that people make when they outbound to their existing customers. I then took that, because I recorded the video, I had the transcript, and then I took it to Claude, and I had Claude write the blog post. I edited a few things, not much, and then took the blog post, team, let's post this blog post, and then they're going to cut up the rest of it and put it on some other platforms, so that way we can get this on 6 or 7 different platforms. And what that does is, when you get to that point and you start understanding the power of syndication, the power of taking one piece and turning it into 10 or more pieces of content, you start having a marketing engine that never, ever, ever turns off. It is constantly churning things out. And it becomes one of the most powerful things you can do for your business to keep your marketing spend down. The biggest thing is, you guys have to find someone in your company that wants to be on camera. Maybe not wants, that is fine being on camera. Ideally, it's the business owner. I know sometimes the business owner does not want to by any stretch, and that's fine. But find someone in your company that does want to be that person, and work with them on the content ideas and hold them accountable to creating content for you. It will change your business. So some stats, I pulled these from some various blogs. I'm not going to go through all of that, but 82% of all consumer internet traffic are from videos. Think about that. That is billions of views per day. 82% of that is videos. 78% of people prefer short video to learn about a product or service. So that stat right there is telling me, for every single service that you offer, a short video about that service could be a really valuable thing that gets on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, it's Instagram, etc. 85% of marketers say short form is most effective. I 100% would agree with that. People's attention spans, unless you're really good at long form content and continuously keeping people looking forward to the next thing and the next thing, and it's a very specific skill that you have to learn to do that. Short form is easier. 30 to 60-second videos. You don't have to keep their attention long. You just have to hook them in that first 3 to 5 seconds with something that's interesting. And then LinkedIn users are 20 times more likely to share a video than any other post type. So if you need another reason, people share videos a lot more than they do text posts. Here's an example of what you can do with one piece of content and where you can put it if you record one video. There's probably more than this. You guys, I'm sure, can come up with other things, but one piece of content can be the hub. It's almost like a hub and spokes model. The hub is that piece of content, and now you create a spokes around your wheel of all these different places that they can put this stuff. How to find content ideas. This is, I get this question a lot. I even have our team ask sometimes when our clients ask about, like, hey, where can I find like some questions that I can start answering and stuff like that. There's a few different things. One, the easiest route is to ask your team. If they get a question on the phone, or they get a question in home, or your salesperson gets questions, have them write them down. Hey, after the call, just write down whatever questions the homeowner asked you, and then we will answer those with content. You can literally just start creating a Excel spreadsheet. Easier way to do that would be to go to a tool like answerthepublic.com, or also asked, that's asked.com. You can literally type in a phrase, let's say AC repair, just for an example. It will give you, I don't remember how many, but you can go several layers deep. You can get hundreds of content ideas and questions to answer in a very, very short period of time. Now, not all of those questions will be super good questions to answer. You're gonna have to use your judgment on which ones you want to answer, but you can take that, export the sheet, because you can download into a sheet, and you literally have hundreds of content ideas in 5 minutes. So there should be no reason that you ever run out of potential content ideas, because then you just redo the process for furnace repair, AC installation, ductless, air duct cleaning, generators, et cetera, et cetera. You do the same thing over and over and over again. And we use that sometimes. A lot of times I also, because we record our calls, Some of you guys may have Rilla. You guys all have probably call recordings from your VoIP provider or CallRail or Service Titan. Inside those recordings is gold. Those are all content gold pieces. The questions that people ask, the things that they care about, those are all things that can be put into content so you can answer those questions ahead of time versus once they call you. A little bit of a playbook on how to get more comments on your posts. There is kind of a little bit of a specific strategy here, but comments are where we want engagement. And the reason we want to create comments and keep adding comments is because the more comments, the more likes a post gets, the more the algorithms online, and it really doesn't matter which social media network you're looking at, is going to show it to more people. Because as soon as you start getting those comments and likes and everything else, it's like, oh, this topic is something people want to talk about. So the algorithm says, okay, let's send it to more people. And then that's how you can get some organic reach. When you want to start having conversations about their specific situation and booking a call and stuff like that, that stuff usually happens where DMs. Comments are where you want to get engagement. DMs are where the sales typically happen. So we're going to go over real quickly here because we're running kind of close to time, but crafting CTA comments or posts that convert and get people to actually care about what you're posting, how to train your team how to reply, and then a tool to help and reply faster. So here's an example. I have a couple examples to share with you guys, but one of the easiest things you guys can do, and the beauty of AI tools this day and age, is it is incredibly easy to create buyer's guides or lead magnets for every single service you offer. So a tip for this, and if you are not familiar with Manus is fantastic at creating guides, branded guides and things like that. Claude's pretty good. ChatGPT is okay, but I prefer to use Manus when it comes to designing things as an AI tool. But, or you can have a team do it if you prefer. But we do this a lot. Some of you guys probably notice this, and if you're in some of our Facebook groups and stuff like that, we do this a lot with our automations, is we essentially just put out what the thing is or what problem we're trying to solve. And if people want that solution, comment, upsell me, comment, whatever a fun word would be for that one. And then make sure that you have, at first, if it's just you may have to do it yourself, or you hire a virtual assistant or get someone on your team to make sure that, again, the comments. So about 50 of these comments are people saying, upsell me. 50 more comments are my personal profile sharing the information with them. That's how you get 100 comments. This gets shown to more people, and now we get more engagement. We get more comments coming in, and that's how you create a little, I wouldn't say viral, but content that actually gets seen by more people. Asking questions that are relevant to your business, things that are designed for people to comment. I did one yesterday, and it was because of, granted, this one wasn't a great example as far as relevant to our business, but we do talk about AI a lot. And one of my posts, the thread started talking, people started talking, sharing the names of their AI. So I created a engagement style post of, if you name your AI, what do you name it? And just keeping the conversation going. But these are the types of comments you guys can kind of see what that looks like. The other way to get a lot of comments, a lot of shares, is to have very helpful content about 48 to 72 hours before a big weather event. So like in the Midwest, there was tornadoes earlier this year, which is really early in the year for tornadoes. They also had, like where I used to live, they had like 30 inches of snow in March or February, something like that. So about 3 days before, when the weather's like, oh, doom and gloom, this big crazy weather storm's coming through, you post on your personal profile helpful tips to make sure that their house or system is safe, or whatever that looks like for you. Share it to all the Facebook groups that you have, because you've already searched and done the Facebook groups. You can put it in Reddit as well. And then you kind of watch the magic happen, because that stuff will get shared a lot more, and it gets a lot of traction online. I don't have the screenshot in here, but I had one post, I think it was like from 2018, got shared like 990 times when we had like a polar vortex or whatever whatever the weather people call it these days, where it was like super cold that was coming down from Canada. And stuff works really, really, really well, but you have to time it just right. If you see the weather and the extended forecast is 7 to 10 days out and you start posting about it, nobody's going to care. That 48 to 72 hours before, everyone's gearing up. They start going to the grocery store, grabbing an extra water. They're caring because they're like, well, I might not be able to drive for a couple days. That's the time to do it. So as a recap, as I know we're running up on time, and I see there's a bunch of questions and things over in the comments here. The framework is to show up in the right groups, do the search, make sure your personal profile is in the groups that people that are in your community, in your service area, so you can be part of the conversation, post real relatable content and stories, and then leverage comments to get into conversations. And that is as far as the simple framework. And you guys saw some of the examples, and I'm happy to share some of these slides with you guys if you guys want more examples of how to do these comments and how to engage in these groups. Or if we're in some of these Facebook groups together and I comment, just see what I comment. Because I specifically do this on purpose, is to keep the conversation going and to share the expertise that I have with whoever is asking. And that stuff, I would promise you, like there was literally one 2 days ago in the Wealthy Plumber Facebook group. If any of you guys are in that, someone asked about websites. Just wanted to get some inspiration for websites. We have a website portfolio on our website. So I dropped that in there. Sure enough, I was on our sales and marketing L10 today, and we had 2 leads that visited that page on that day and booked calls with us. And it's because we had those resources, and we, there's this stuff grows and expands over time. I know some of you guys are like, wow, there's a lot. There's a lot of things to do. Start with one. Just keep building. Just like you build a house, you build the foundation, the basement. Well, if you have a basement, you build the basement first, then you build the first layer, and then you put the wood and everything else on. Then all of a sudden you put the framing, and you build one step at a time. It's okay that you are not doing everything, but pick at least 1 to 3 things you heard today and implement those things. So the next time we go through this, which I do this one I do this webinar every year, or you can go back and review it. You can add another thing or two, and then your strategy gets exponentially more complex and better over time. Now, I did talk about a tool. This is a tool that Tersh and I created. It's called Tap Recon. I think it's $129 or $149 a month. You can scan it, go to the QR code. Essentially what it does is it's a keyword spotting tool. So what it does is in Facebook groups, Reddit sub-communities, Nextdoor groups, LinkedIn, when keywords that are used to search for the type of business that you have and the services you offer, it will alert you via message that you have a new conversation to get into. It does have some AI reply capabilities. Facebook, I would be careful with the AI replies because Facebook is kind of cracked down on that stuff. But I would use it as an alert system, alerting you, especially in your busy day-to-day. Oh, there's a new conversation. I got to jump into this one. Go engage with this one. And the more groups you join, the more places you have this monitoring. You can even monitor for your brand. So if somebody says something negative or positive about your brand, you can either go fix the negative thing and have a conversation, or the positive thing, you can go take that, screenshot it, share it online to other people. And that's how you create a content ecosystem that is constantly growing. And then if you guys would, I know we have some customers on here, so you guys probably don't want to book a strategy session, but if some of you guys want to book a strategy session with either Brittany or Carrington from our team, you guys can schedule that here. One thing I will note for the customers that are on this webinar today is we have been beta testing a social media service for clients. We do have a handful of those clients in there, and we are now offering that to clients. Existing clients are going to get the best discounts on that service as we get that off the ground, because there's still some SOPs and things that we're working on finalizing, but it is something that we do offer now. So if you guys want more information about that, contact your client success strategist, and they'd be happy to share that with you guys. That being said, let's get to questions. All right. Matt Garfold asked, Should social media somehow be tied to your website SEO? Do they coincide with each other? So there's kind of a multifaceted answer there, Matt. One, on your Google business profile, there's still a lot of people that don't know this. On your Google business profile, all these social media profiles you have, make sure, just go and check, make sure they're linked. You can link up to, I think there's like 7 of them. That even includes like Pinterest, but you can have YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, and there's one that's escapes. I don't remember what the other one is, which is not necessarily answering your question, but make sure that's connected, because if you go Google your brand name, there's a tab at the top that says short videos. And if you're connected to your Google business profile, Google can bring those videos in and you can actually see all your different videos on that short videos section. I realized that sometime last year, which was a really powerful thing. A lot of people still don't know that though. And when we optimize profiles, they're like, there's no social media profiles connected. So that's one way of connecting those entities for Google. On your website, I wouldn't say you need to do anything. The one thing I would give you, if you do create videos or you want to work with your marketing company on videos, the blogs that they're creating or the service pages they have, some of these frequently asked question videos and stuff you have, ask them to embed the YouTube video on that blog. Now, obviously, you got to create the video, but get the blog and the YouTube version embedded, because now you're hitting both search engines. You're hitting Google and YouTube, which I think TikTok is number 2 now. So Google and YouTube are 1 and 3 respectively as far as most visited sites. So there's a really great way to double up your chances of being found, because some of you guys have probably realized as well, like if you go to water heater installation and type that in, there's going to be a lot of videos on page 1 of Google, YouTube videos specifically. So if you have a YouTube video and a blog post, you have a much better chance of ranking for that important term. I'm a marketing manager at the company, and our current rhythm of posting is 3 times a week: educational reel, review highlight, and educational carousel. And if we have a work anniversary, birthday, or company-wide event, we post those. My question is, how often is the recommended amount to post on social media, and how often? It's a really hard question to answer, because there really is no best practice. Personally, I like to post at least once a day. Now, there's some days I miss and I'll double up on other days, but I would post something at least once a day. And I like the fact that you guys have a system for this, where you have an educational piece, a review, a carousel, an anniversary, birthday. Post your trainings. I didn't see that on here, but company-wide event. Post your trainings. If your team goes out to lunch together, post and tag the restaurant you're going out to lunch with. There's a lot of different options for this, but I would try to post at least once a day, especially during the weekdays. Weekends, if nobody's around to post or you don't schedule those, that's okay. But during the weekdays specifically would be great to post every day. Mauricio, so you're not posting on your personal page from the business page, you're sharing the business page post. So if you're on the Pen Pals Facebook page and you see a post you want to share, click the share icon, share it, and then you can share it to your personal page. That's how you do that. And if you want to post it to a group, you also hit the share button, say share a group, and then I think there's an option for you to post from your personal profile. Ryan asked, if we aren't the owner of the company, is there still a benefit to using our personal profiles for the business? Some owners may not like this answer. I was not the owner of the last 2 HVAC companies that I worked at, but it actually helped me build a personal brand, which launched this company, because I was sharing helpful educational content in a business coaching. I was never the goal of starting Relentless. I never had a dream of starting an agency. I was posting helpful content. I noticed that our Google business profiles had the best conversion rate inside of Service Titan. And I started going down this deep rabbit hole of all these other things that we could do with the Google business profiles. And I started sharing the things that were working for us to expand our visibility. But because I was posting, because I was sharing that stuff, it spawned a business for me. Now, I know you probably don't want your team members to have that, but to me, somebody from the company needs to be posting. If the owner is not going to do it, you guys are leaving money on the table. You're leaving opportunity on the table. So if it's a company you really care about, I would have that conversation with that business owner, because there's a lot of opportunity there, from search, from people finding you on these social media platforms. And then honestly, it just for your own personal, professional life, it's a good thing too to build a personal brand. I'm of the belief, and granted, I know a lot of people won't do this because they don't want to, but building a personal brand is literally one of the best decisions you can make for your career. Gabrielle asked, what kind of post do you suggest on LinkedIn to help build that recognition in our field? So the audience on LinkedIn is a little different. So that's a great question. Facebook's definitely, you guys probably have seen the difference. If you're on both platforms, you probably know that there's a difference in like the types of content that work and stuff like that. But in LinkedIn, I would definitely focus on the expertise of your company, what you guys do, the services you offer. I would focus on the expertise. One beautiful thing, I didn't share this on a slide, is if you have a good post for Facebook, have Claude or ChatGPT rewrite it for LinkedIn, because they know what the platform, what the differences are, and they will write a more professional post for LinkedIn. Maybe Facebook's more of an opinion post, and then they'll write a professional one for LinkedIn, and you don't essentially have to think about that when you post. So use the tools available to us to make the work easier and faster. Oh, that's not the one Nadine pulled up. Sorry, Nadine. Regarding video and or photography, my background is actually professional photography and videography. Is it better to have high quality video and photo for social media, or does iPhone quality work better? So this is interesting. I don't have any stats to back this up, but what I have noticed, both my wife, who's, I don't know if she's still on here, Brittany, who's my business partner, and I will do kind of our own personal posts. Sometimes it's thought leadership or it's our workout journey and stuff like that. The videos that are less edited and are from your phone generally seem to perform better. And that's what I've noticed. So a lot of times I'll get a video idea. I got a tripod behind me that I set up with a ring light. I'll just sit my phone in there. And then I have a little DJI set here with a little, you guys have probably seen these mics on content creators. They'll put them on their hat or on their shirt. And so I have good quality audio. Or sometimes I'll just literally sit here on my phone like this. I'll hold my phone, put the mic on, and I'll just record from here. I find that those videos do actually really well because it feels, especially in this age of AI, where you can make an avatar of yourself. I've seen it done. People want to see the real you. They want to see the behind the scenes. I think we're going to have, it's already kind of started, but you're going to see this pushback of AI is great, but I want the real thing. I want the ums and the ahs and the imperfections of human. So I've also noticed that highly edited videos, like my team does a fantastic job editing, but sometimes the highly edited videos actually perform worse than if I just posted what I recorded straight from my phone. So I hope that answered your question. It's kind of a roundabout answer, but I like the stuff that's less polished. I think that stuff does a lot better. Trisha asked, what else can we do if both organic posts and paid ads are also not effective for engagement despite prioritizing helpful and relevant content? Trisha, that might be one I have to, maybe you can send me a message and I can just take a look at kind of what you guys are doing and maybe give you some help there and some other thoughts without seeing what you're posting and how it's written, what kind of images you guys are using and stuff like that. It's a little hard for me to comment on that, but I'd be happy to just take a look. If you send me an email after this or send me a DM on Facebook, I'll happy to take a look at your guys' account and see what I can help you guys with. Awesome. Nadine, do we have anything else that we missed? Okay. Awesome, guys. So real quick, before we all jump off of here, there will be a replay that goes out that will be sent, depends on how quickly it takes to download this, tomorrow or Monday. We'll get that out. Real quick, there is also on our website, I wanted to pull this up really fast because the team did a phenomenal job of this. Hopefully I can pull it up really fast here for you guys so I don't spend too much of your time. But we actually have all of these webinars in one place, so you don't have to go try to find them on YouTube. Sorry, I'm pulling up on my other screen. It is, let me find the link. Nadine, I probably should have asked you for this beforehand. There it is. All right, let me put this link in the chat. We will send this out in the email as well. But it's got all of our recent webinars. So if you guys want to ever go, just bookmark that page, go back anytime you want and go watch the webinar. If there's something that maybe you implement a couple things, you want to come back a couple months later and implement some more, go to that page and you'll be able to find that stuff. We'll keep it up there forever. So awesome. With that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful and safe rest of your week and weekend, and we'll talk to you guys soon.